Here guys, I'm trying to fight off this guy who broke into my house and is trying to take it over. Oh my god, you poor thing. What do you need? Weapons? Cash? Really? Of course. What he's done is simply wrong. We stand with you and will do whatever it takes to support you in your courageous and just fight to repel the invader. Thank you. Guys, I'm trying to fight off this guy who broke into my house, expelled me from it and locked me in the shed. You're doing what? That is barbaric. I want you to condemn yourself. What? I don't think you heard me right. Oh, we heard you all right, you maniac. What you've done is simply wrong. We stand with the guy who took over your house and locked you in the shed, and will do whatever it takes to support him in his courageous and just fight to blow the shed up.
So, I think in this part of the world, in the West generally, in Europe and America, there's a kind of cognitive dissonance when it comes to the struggling of people who aren't white. That's what it comes down to, I think. There's a natural inclination to feel more empathy for Israeli victims. So the idea of the Ukraine comparison video was that in the West we're filled with news constantly that this Ukrainian struggle is a noble struggle. It's a struggle for freedom, for liberation from a brutal colonial force. And so we must support Ukraine with financial assistance, with hearts and minds, and we must feel huge empathy for them. Which, by the way, I totally agree with. I totally agree with that. The Ukrainian struggle is a human struggle. But the problem is, I think, the Palestinian struggle bears a huge resemblance to the Ukrainian struggle. They're a proud people who have had their land confiscated, they've been invaded, they've been treated as second-class citizens, and they've been, in some cases, condemned to life in an open-air prison in a tiny area of 2 million people. And yet when they fight back for their liberation and their independence, we're made to feel, I think, in this part of the world, not so much in Ireland. I think Ireland is better than the rest of Europe. I probably would say that. But certainly in the Anglo-spheric perspective of America and Europe and Britain is that they don't deserve freedom fighting and they're terrorists. And I think when it comes down to it, that's all based on a Western perspective on brown and black people, that they're not the same as us. We are exceptional. When they fight for freedom, they're terrorists. When we fight for freedom, we're noble freedom fighters. And I think that's the difference. And that upsets me as a human being. So I wanted to do something in my comedy that would draw attention to that outrageous, racist hypocrisy. So one unexpected result of the sketch is that I have all these people in the Muslim world following me on Instagram, sending me such lovely messages. And I suppose my instinct was that the West, you know, is just, this Islamophobia is just a little bit underneath everything that the West does in terms of news, domestic policy, foreign policy, Islamophobia, and generally racism, I suppose. And that has definitely been, I've been proved to be correct there, I think, by the response from the Arab world, who all say, yeah, this is total Western hypocrisy. Thank you for calling it out. It's unusual to hear that from a Western voice. With the overall European perspective, which is to support Israel and put up the lights of the Israeli flag in its government buildings. Ireland has been an outlier, and I'm proud of Ireland for that. And as we were talking before, I think the reason for that is, you get this particularly with people in the north of Ireland, we have an understanding of colonialism that transcends religion and it transcends race. I think because of our own colonial experience, and particularly those in the north of Ireland, we've come to understand the framework for colonialism. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if you're brown or black. When there's an oppressor and an oppressed, it's an international struggle. So people who want to give me ideas for videos, basically, particularly if they're from the Islamic world, I'd love to hear those ideas. And finally, on Palestine, I think if enough people are made aware of the hypocrisy between the Ukraine and the West's stance on Ukraine and Palestine, then it just comes down to a choice of, are you willing to support the genocide of these people. So one definite downside to doing the video is that I've started getting messages from Zionists threatening me. There was one quite amusing one last night, I felt anyway. It's from somebody claiming to be a witch, a Zionist witch, and she said that she's put a curse on me. So I am appealing to the Arab world, if you feel you can undo a witch's curse, particularly a Zionist witch's curse, please do so, because I am in grave danger.